Hi, I'm Ethan Sabo, and this is Real Politics. Just over a week ago, a man named Richard Pilger descended upon a self-inflicted purge. He resigned shortly after his boss, Attorney General William Barr, announced federal support for the election investigation. How did he resign and why did he resign? Well, in his own words, it was in lockstep with values rooted in tradition. But what sort of tradition, you might ask? Well, those bestowed upon him by a department award he received some time ago, like a participation award. What about some other traditional values us Americans hold, such as persistence and an unwavering quest to unveil the truth? Whatever happened to the truth? When will we know the truth? Those must have not have been a part of that award. He joined the Justice Department in 2010, so perhaps it was just time to close out his unremarkable decade without having to ruffle too many feathers, the DC way. If he was a softball, play it safe kind of guy all along, as proven by his untimely exit, a different theory emerges. The sheer complexity of election fraud may have just gone right over his head. Who knows? We weren't there. But we hate to break it to you, Pilger, but just because the Trump administration remains embroiled in a daunting situation does not mean that their claims are not true. The good thing is that it seems as though Pilger has inspired President Trump to tighten up his ship and rein in talent while kicking ineffective employees to the curb. The latest on that chopping block? Chris Krebs. The now former Department of Homeland Security Director of Cybersecurity and Infrastructure. The guy that claimed that the 2020 election was the most secure election of our lifetime, of our nation's history. Well, that is exactly why he got fired, because in a statement, he said that the election was the most secure in the entire nation's history. And that is a bold claim, to say the least. But President Trump quickly went to Twitter and tweeted about the firing. He stated, "The recent statement by Chris Krebs on the security of the 2020 election was highly inaccurate in that there were massive voter fraud, including dead people voting, poll watchers not allowed into the polling locations, glitches in the voting machines, which changed votes from Trump to Biden, late voting, and many more. Therefore, effective immediately, Chris Krebs has been terminated as Director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency." So for that, goodbye, Mr. Chris Krebs. Sadly, this is not the end of the saga. This Tuesday, Wayne County, Michigan's Board of Canvassers abruptly changed course, certifying election results after an initial deadlock that could have provided a lucrative window of time to validate pivotal votes. The moment in which the decision was made, which was supposed to be live streamed, apparently happened to fall precisely when the virtual meeting video stream was not working, kind of like the busted pipe in Georgia that there's no work orders that have been found. Is that a happy accident? For Democrats, yes it is. But for those Americans concerned with fairness and transparency, this holds up yet another example of erroneous and unconcealed efforts to certify an election without doing their due diligence. What's the problem, Wayne County? Budget cuts? A willy-nilly board of pushovers? Who the hell is actually running this show? Michigan voters? Or is there a larger force that's working overtime to close the gap between the unknown and finalized vote count without basis of fact or truth? Again, whatever happened to the truth? Is that too much to ask? In 2020, I'm afraid that those people in positions of power are trying to tell you that it is what it is, just to keep your mouth shut and accept it. Well, that seems like a solid 180 from the approach taken by Democrats after Hillary Clinton's loss. As shocked as they claim to be by Republicans who are not accepting the win unless each vote is certified, they aren't much different from themselves. Did they just suddenly, forget about the elaborate fabrication of election fraud that was caused by a Russian collusion in 2016? Do you remember the Steele dossier? Perhaps it will be nominated this year for the Pulitzer Prize in Fiction, a fiction so riveting, so captivating, and all-consuming that the mainstream media volunteered their spin on it, like rabid little Twilight readers who cannot get enough and they have decided to create their own fan fiction. The failing New York Times reporting can't even conceal its glee in Trump's pre-assumed loss. But have they ever wondered about their business's model? The bottom line of all mainstream media companies these last few years was primarily driven by the man they hate the most, Donald Trump. Do you think we'll see this level of vilification for their beloved leader, Joe Biden? This probably isn't likely. Perhaps they should check out their own fiction writers to take them to a journalist retreat. Maybe they can pick up a skill or two that may help them figure out how to write about things that actually happen. You hear that, Don Lemon? Or Don Lemon? But Donald and Melania, our sitting president and first lady, are not giving up. Mar-a-Lago Thanksgiving plans have been put on hold, and the Turkey Day will be celebrated bunkered up inside the White House, working vigilantly to give the people what they deserve: justice. That very same justice fraud chief Pilger ran away from like Little Red Riding Hood, except here's the catch. The big bad wolf in this case is simply doing what is right, fair, and just. A competitor to social media has cropped up to save what semblances of free speech we have left. Parler, a social network that is a direct competitor to Twitter, joined by President Trump and most recently Ivanka. The company's user base has already more than doubled to 10 million people in under a week. That means that Parler is growing faster than Facebook and Twitter did when they first became social media networks. But maybe you should go follow me. My Twitter handle is @EthanSabo. Other conservative mainstays such as Candace Owens, Laura Loomer, and Rudy Giuliani have moved to the platform as well, which does not use invasive algorithms and biased content recommendations to censor your daily dose of chatter, news, commentary, and insight. And though the path forward for President Trump does not look as linear as it once did, should he exit the White House and facilitate an orderly transition? There's no stopping him from running in 2024. I'll be on his team every step of the way. But rumor has it, though, that he is setting up his own multimedia corporation, cutting his reliance on Fox, which has already proved to have joined the herd of the mainstream media. And that, my friends, is why we live in a country ran by capitalism and private industry. When the status quo stops delivering, others will come in and take over, and unsurprisingly, they will always do better. If you like my shirt, head over to patrioticforce.store. Use promo code SABO to save 10%. I'm Ethan Sabo, and this is Real Politics.